Hello, dear friends. Today I am bringing you this talk on how to deal with stress in everyday life. As I meet people, as I see the queries which are generally posed, uh, I can imagine and understand that stress has somewhere started being a huge part of our lives, and everybody in a big or a small way is trying to deal with this stress. If it is not stress in our personal lives, it is stress from the news that we watch and the fears which are constantly propagated about the health situations or the situation in the country or the world wide situations. So constantly we are barraged with so much information that even if everything is going right in our personal lives, we tend to become stressed out. I saw this question somewhere and I felt that it was a wise question that somebody had asked. How do we know that we are stressed? So I'll list a few signs and you could look at those signs in yourself if they are present, if there are so many of them which are present, if there is just one, you can know the degree of stress that you might be in. So disturbance in sleep is one sign of stress. So we could be not able to sleep at all, or have a disturbed sleep, or been sleeping too much. Eating disorders are a sign of stress. We might feel very hungry all the time, or we might not feel hungry at all. So if our hunger is disturbed, that is also a sign of stress. Might feel low, not interested in the routine activities that were pleasing to us. Might not feel like talking to people, might not feel interested, enthused about something. Like losing that passion or that zeal or that zest in life. That is a sign of chronic stress. Even health issues, I would say, could be a very, very relevant and an important sign of stress. Gastric issues, ulcers, constipation, acidity, or uh, other health issues, aches and pains, or headaches, or even the chronic diseases that develop like hypertension or the heart diseases, they are also a sign of stress. I feel that if one leads a life from a calm place within ourselves, we would be much healthier and we would not require these medicines that we fall back on so many times. So our psyche has become like this, that for any little health disturbance, we need a fix-it tablet. But I really feel that even a health disturbance is a sign of the body saying something to us and it wants to bring something to our notice. So, stress, I feel, is something that can really, when we understand it, we can deal with it better and reach a calmer place within ourselves so that we have a better health and we have a better life. So, if we are very stressed out, even our relationships suffer. We tend to get angry much more, irritated much more easily, and we might say things to people which we'll regret later, but they've been said, and they go to damage the relationships which are so very important to us. So, as you can see, that it's very important to look at this area in our life. And I love to say it, I've said it many times to people that I meet, that stress is basically inside us. So it's not so much about what's happening outside, than what I am thinking about it, how I am processing that information, right? So here in this talk, we are going to majorly focus on, how to deal with the stress. Yeah. So I would quickly move on to the pointers, or the easy pointers with which we can have a more peaceful life, regardless of what is happening outside. So the nature of life is like this, that something or the other would always keep happening. We cannot control the life outside of ourselves, but we can definitely have complete control over our inside. We can have a control over our perception of events. So something happens, how do we process it? How do we see it? That is a perception of the event, and that comes from our attitude. What is our attitude towards life? So those people who are prone to take a lot of stress also have a pessimistic attitude towards life. They feel like something is going wrong all the time, and so much fear is there that they have this projection few days down the line, projection few months down the line, and they have a list of things which can happen, and that kind of stresses us more, right? So whenever something is happening, and it's like, if it is happening and I'm alive and I'm breathing and it's fine, so that means I can deal with it, right? But it's harder to deal with what we project into the future, because it hasn't even happened yet, and our fear is that we might not be able to deal with them. So all those projections, all those overthinking is what adds on to the stress. So believe me, if we could be just present in any moment, howsoever hard it might be, there would be zero stress. What does it mean to be present in any moment? So whenever we are thinking, so the thinking always will be about the future, even if it is 1 minute down the line. So if I am to go and talk to my boss, and I'm thinking about it, so what am I going to say? All of those are going to be in the future if I'm worrying about it, right? Or if I start thinking about what happened the last time I spoke to my boss, oh, this happened and this went really bad, then I'm in the past. How can I be in the present if there are no thoughts in my mind? And you might say that that's a fantastic idea and easier said than done. How does it even happen that there are no thoughts in the mind? And there are easy tools to do that. I've been saying it. If you look at my past videos, you would get information on the techniques which are very easy to do, and I'll repeat them here. One easy way to be in the present is to be with your breathing. So if you're feeling the stress coming on, there is some important event, like this, oh, I have to go speak to my boss about something. If some event like this is going to happen, and you know that it's going to be stressful for you, so you can make extra effort to follow the awareness practices, meditate more. So there's a whole video on meditation, so I'm not going to touch on that. You can watch that video to understand about meditation, but I highly recommend that meditation, when followed every day as a practice, and if we form that as a habit and it becomes a part of our lives, it'll beat the stress out of our lives. So I'm going to diverge a little, and I come to this interesting little tidbit. Like, we all brush our teeth, every day, twice a day, and this is something that I think like almost everyone does. And like, do you ever wonder how did it start? How did this like toothpaste came into being? They didn't exist. They haven't always existed. So there was this huge advertising campaigns in which people were given repeatedly this message on how important this is, and when we brush our teeth, what happens? We must brush our teeth, and this toothpaste does this to us. So by this repeated message when it was given, all of us got into this habit of brushing our teeth. Now meditation is not advertised like this. It is not a commodity which is sold like that. So we have to make this choice and we have to discipline ourselves into doing it. I would suggest follow it for 40 days, and as you see the results, then you would be able to do it more and more. Yeah. So nobody is going to grill it into you. You would not have seen your parents doing it, so it is not the normal thing for you. Yeah. But if you're looking for something and whatever you have been doing is not working for you, then certainly it has to be something different. So besides meditation, being in awareness, so being with my breathing. So whenever you're feeling stressed out, this is I feel a very easy tool. So what you can do is just breathe consciously. So we're breathing all the time. If we don't breathe, we'll die. But we don't breathe consciously. So I'm not aware of my breathing. So if I breathe consciously, I become aware of it. So it's like 5 minutes down the line, I have to go speak to that boss and I have these 5 minutes. So I could spend them just breathing consciously, just feeling my breath. Right? I could do it for a period of time. I could breathe a little deeply. Yeah, that would also be very calming. Right? So whenever we focus on our breathing, whenever we breathe a little deeply, it's going to calm us down, right? So another thing another easy technique which we can use to de-stress is to engage our senses, right? So if we, for example, we walk barefoot on ground, so we are engaging this sense of touch, it would calm us down. Being out in the nature would calm us down. So when we look at pleasing things around us, and trees and flowers and birds and water, all of this, if we really have the time to just sit and watch nature around us, it's very pleasing and it's very de-stressing. So when we watch something on the TV, when we're watching something on the internet, it also leads to a temporary suspension of that thinking which was bothering us. So we kind of feel a little bit of relief. So we want to watch more and more. But here what happens is when we are watching, our attention gets trapped in what we are watching. It's not free. So it's like going down the scale to get that sense of peace. But if we try go up the scale, like going out and just observing nature, just walking barefoot, right? That's going up the scale, so our attention is free. It has not been trapped. But initially, if we have become very addicted to watching these gadgets and watching these, these programs on TV and these series which come now, it's difficult to feel the peace which will come by just being in nature. So it has to be a gradual process. You can keep watching your flicks, but meanwhile introduce maybe 10 minutes of being out in the garden and just looking at the trees and the flowers, and engage your sense of hearing. Hear the birds, you can listen to the breeze. So at home also you can play calming music, right? It could be some chants that you like. So any kind of soothing music, it is going to calm you down, because you have engaged the sense of hearing. If you light an incense, again it would have a calming effect on you. So these are very easy tools and very easy interventions by which you can calm yourself down. Other intervention is the intervention with your thoughts. So if we really start observing, and I've worked with so many people over a period of time, And through that, through observation of myself, I've really understood that stress comes from what we are thinking about something. So even if we can change what we are thinking, how we are looking at something, the stress is going to come down. So we can um, deliberately cultivate a positive attitude, have faith, for example, that it's all going to work out. So huge stress comes from even not knowing clearly what we are stressed about. So it's kind of vague. It's just filling our mind. And I'm not feeling good, but I really don't know why. So you can take a pen and paper, write down, list down what all is stressing you. So this is not working here, that is not working here. You can make as big a list as you like, right? And you have this list, at least you have it in black and white, and it's a tangible number. It cannot be infinite. It has to be a tangible number, the things that are stressing you out. When you have them, you could focus on, you could choose to focus on, there are five, so you can look at one today and see, okay, what is it that I can do about it practically. You can spend some time just for that, just looking into it. How can I practically deal with it? Right? It's very nice if we can talk to someone about it. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, somebody who is positive or neutral, not a negative person who will tell you, oh yes, of course you need to worry more. Not that kind of person. So you can talk also, or you can just spend your time reflecting. So when you have done the maximum that you could for that point, you could leave it with, if you have a altar at home, you could leave that slip there. Maybe you make a little box and you leave that slip here, that God, it is there with you. Or you can choose to burn it. It's kind of like releasing it to the universe. I've done my best, right? Or you could like tear it and throw it into the bin. That's also a kind of letting go. You can go on doing this process again and again. So that is like bringing it into focus, what it is that was worrying me, and looking at it tangibly, what I can do about it. And when there's nothing more that you can do about something, then you have to let it go. Like for example, sometimes we are worried about our loved ones, but we cannot define their choices. We cannot live their life for them. So somewhere we have to let it go. And we have to trust in a higher power, for example, or universe, or just life itself. That is all gonna be okay. Like in 3 Idiots, as he say, I feel very beautiful, all is well. You can just tell yourself it's all okay. Yeah. Sometimes our overthinking is what causes us so much stress. Yeah. So we can suspend the thinking by going through a rational process. Okay. We can listen to positive affirmations, which are like the positive statements which can lift up our mood. There are so many positive videos to watch, mind videos for one, and so many others. I really recommend Wayne Dyer, Louis Hay. There are other good speakers also. So when you listen to them, it lifts up your mood. I would highly recommend don't watch the news, all the negative programs, the saddening programs, the horror-filled programs. So that will engage the negative emotions and would again lead to stress building up inside us. So you can watch comedies, right? You can also read uplifting books if you're into reading. That will also lift up your moods. So you will have to form new habits if you are very sincere about changing your life. If you are tired of feeling the way you have been feeling, know that you will have to deliberately make those choices. Nobody is gonna, like wave a magic wand on you and then wish every problem is gone and now you are a happy person. Many times we are unhappy because of the negative habits of the mind that we have formed. We become so used to chronic overthinking, we become so used to looking negatively at everything. Anything happens, we will interpret it negatively. Of course, we'll feel bad. So, who can change that? You can change that. Nobody else can change that for you. Can anybody go inside your head and meddle with your head? They can't do it. They might do it a little with your permission, but they can't do it. Ultimately, it'll have to be you who has to do it. So, I feel the cornerstone of beating stress is to take responsibility for your life. I am responsible for what I am thinking and what I am feeling. Unless you take that responsibility, you will always be dependent on other people and events happening in this particular way so that I can feel good. Yeah. And don't you think it's really a powerless state to be in? Power comes from within. How would you be a powerful person when you know whatever is happening around me, I can still be a happy person, I can still be a peaceful person? Yeah. One could be impacted by it, right? Oh, I felt sad about this, I felt angry about this, but a person who is emotionally resolved would be able to, let it go and not just keep carrying on and on about it. Okay, and the sooner you start working on it, the better it is for you, because things just keep on piling up. And I've seen the thought patterns, they become like big cement walls, that are really difficult to break. Yeah. So we need, like, your mind is like a house, and we need to make positive structures in your house. Who's going to make it? You're going to make it. So you have to inculcate positivity in your mind. You can even write down a positive statement. Now, it could be any statement, like I can give an example and you can modify it. Everything is working out well for me. Right? I am always helped and guided. I am always washed over. I am safe. So you could write one of these statements in your room where you can see it every day. Believe me that even by just looking at it every day, it would just go into your subconscious. And all of our negative thoughts, they're coming from subconscious programming. So what we have to ultimately do is to change this programming. Right? And this is one easy way to change it. So whenever you will read it, then you will feel uplifted and you'll feel that things may really work out. And they do. Whenever you're going through a difficult time, dear friend, just imagine that it's like going through a tunnel and it might be completely dark and you might not see any hope. But believe me, you will take a turn. This tunnel turns and there's gonna be light. So have this hope in your life. Don't let go of hope. Yeah? Have this hope that howsoever difficult the situation might be, there's going to be light at the end of this tunnel. Yeah. With this, I would end this talk. I would encourage you to forward this video to anybody who might be going through some stress. Like and subscribe my videos if you like this one and would like to continue hearing. And you can even post in comments any topic that you would like me to take up. Thank you so much.